Well, I know that I said the next video would be me starting the car up, or at least that whole process, but I actually have enough little things to do that I could probably make a second one as far as the whole install process goes. But look what is sitting on top. It's just sitting on there right now, but that is a Holley Brawler Quick Fuel. It's a 850 electric choke, mechanical secondary. That thing is looking fancy. Got my Unilite distributor in. I had to change it out to a bronze gear because of the camshaft I'm running. I do have a roller cam. Yeah, so I should have some plug wires soon. But yeah, just kind of going through. I gotta put a thermostat in. I gotta get some fittings here and measure for my heater hoses. My other shock tower brace, I'll go ahead and get that in. So we're just kind of slowly putting things together here. Nothing super fancy here. Just a thermostat. I think he said, yeah, 195 degrees. That's what it called for. I could always go to a colder one if there's any issues. Ah, look at that. I like when it works. Gasket. Now you'll see on top of my thermostat housing here, there is a little heat controlled, I guess we'll call it a vacuum switch. However, that's for a vacuum advance. And my distributor is all mechanical advance. I don't know about you guys, but that red cap is an eyesore to me. It just like sticks out. There's been so many things where I've not been sure what the proper bolt is, but I've got so many extra just bolts and nuts and hardware, so I've just been kind of going with whatever. I'm not really stressed about things being concourse, more stressed about things just working. I wonder if I should have put some sort of sealant or something around that gasket. I guess we'll find out if it leaks. In other news, I should have a power steering bracket. I contacted the person that I got that used one from, and sounds like it was pulled from a 400, so he should have one actually for a 460, which should work for this. So that'll go there, and he just might also have my AC bracketry stuff. So here's hoping for that. Let's see, what's next? Got this in. I know I need to put my alternator wiring on. Should have done that when the car was up in the air though. I was doing a double check just to make sure there's nothing I needed to kind of access back here before I put this other shock tower brace on. I think I'm okay, but it is easy enough to take on and off. I'm bummed though. I painted this a long time ago and just sitting around, some rust started to sink through, so I'll have to give them a fresh little dusting of good old cover up. There we go. That looks better, more uniform. Ugh, I gotta paint that. I'll just give it a quick little be good enough. So right now I'm just kind of starting to dry fit some things. I also got a few vacuum lines hooked up, and yeah, seeing how this goes with my ram air hood. And yeah, things are slowly getting there. Good evening. It is 9 o'clock, 9:15 at night in Alaska, which is why it's still super bright. I did go ahead and get that distributor cap painted because I wanted to, and loosely just put the wires where they need to go. I'll have to make them pretty here in a bit. Got some other pieces I'm going to put on. Got like a fuel pump, a couple fittings, some heater hose. Just gonna see what we can do here to get this thing going. So first thing I'm gonna do is I gotta put this spacer on. It was on it, and I have to have it because there's some linkage on the back of the carburetor that gets in the way if I don't. But I only had one gasket, so fortunately my coworker was kind enough to give me another gasket, so we're gonna put this thing on, and then my carb can actually stay on. So I just ran down the studs, got the first gasket in place, cleaned off the contact surface, make sure this goes on straight. Okay, next gasket, looking good. And finally, and hopefully the last time for now, the old gravitator. Throw these down. For those of you wondering, this is a Holley Brawler quick fuel 850 with an electric choke and mechanical secondary. Figured with 500 plus cubic inches, should be a decent fit for it. I think, let's see, factory Cobra Jets came with, what was it? Was it 730 Rochester card? Super Cobra Jets came with, I think a Holley, was it a 780? So, I did drop my compression ratio a little bit so I can run it on some street gas. Seems how the best I get up here is about 90. But we made up for that with a stroker kit, a meaner cam, and it's bored out a little bit. So hopefully this is a good fit for me. And sticking with the fuel theme, got a fuel pump here I'm going to put in, just a Napa special, nothing too crazy here. But we got the wrong one at first, so now we'll get the right one in. Alright, fuel pump's in. That was kind of a pain in the butt, but we're in. I think next up we'll do ignition coil. Well, the camera died on me a couple days ago when I started this, but I've continued doing a few little things here and there, and I'm going to do a couple more things tonight. But take a look. It's actually starting to look more like an engine now. A few things that I've done. I can't remember where I left off, but I got my ignition mounted. I did wire up my distributor. I am using a Mallory Unilite distributor, by the way. The main reason why I did that is actually I had it. It just came in the box of goodies that I got with this thing, so that is what I'm sticking with. I like it just mainly because it, I don't know, now that it's got a black cap, looks a little bit more factory. But since it is all mechanical advance, I plugged up a few vacuum lines, things I'm not going to need. Been working on just kind of getting things going. Got my heater hoses all routed. That's a tricky fitting. That wasn't on there before, but I was able to get it by taking that off. That was kind of tricky. Let's see, I wired up my alternator. And now I'm going to work on getting my fuel pump taken care of. Ran into a couple of debacles. I'll explain that in a second. So I did my best to get a fuel pump just locally through Napa here, and the one that I got had like a 3/8 in, but it had a 5/16 inverted flare out, and normally there is a 3/8 inverted flare, and not working. But anyway, that thing was not fitting, so I got this 3/8 barb, and I'm just going to run some 3/8 fuel hose right now until I get things figured out. I think there's a better fuel pump to use, but this one at least works. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in. I've already taken it out once, but put it back in now that I've got everything that I need fitting wise, I think, for this go around. And then I'll hook it up to the carb. Then once this is in, I can put my power steering bracket on for good. So I did dry fit that. All is good there. Yeah, so let's get this thing in. So yeah, technically there's supposed to be a steel line that comes up in here. For now, I'm going to use this fuel line. Got it hooked up. I got to figure something else out. I'm kind of trying to just get this together because there's actually a car show coming up, and I'd really like to just get there. I know you're not supposed to like rush these kind of things, but man, I'm getting eager. Can you blame me? So next up, we're going to go ahead and put the power steering pump in, and technically I have like the AC brackets, but I have a pulley that needs a new bearing, so I'm going to put the power steering bracket in and no AC stuff, so I won't even run the belt. or any of the brackets or anything like that, because I still have stuff I need for that system. So I kind of had to make up a spacer, you'll see here in a second, but we'll get that bracket in for now. So technically, part of the AC brackets kind of go here, but I measured it out, and I have some really nice aluminum spacers that I drilled out for the 7/16 hole, and I needed one more washer, so it's not going to look pretty, but it's going to work. So let's put this thing in. Basically, if I can do all this without dropping these washers. And one more. Okay, there we go. This is actually a stud, but it came out as a nut on this stud. So you can kind of see the fuel line is not really hurting anything right here. So we'll do that. Got a couple here. We'll throw the belt on, and then we'll hook up the lines. Fortunately, I've already kind of test fit this stuff, so we should be good here. Okay, let's get our belt on. This belt's a little on the long side, so I'm kind of at the end of my adjustment here, but it does seem to work. Which is funny, because the alternator belt that I got is a little on the tight side, like really tight. Well, I mean, not tight enough that I was scared to run it, but tight. Anyway, let's get this on. So yeah, you can see I'm just about at the tail end of my adjustment here, but I still got a little more, so right now that'll work. I'll probably get like a, I don't know, maybe 1 inch shorter belt or something like that, ½ inch, somewhere in there. But that's good. Okay, hooked up my pressure in return. Alright, so for now, that's it for my accessories as far as hooking them up, I think, for now. I got a couple other things I'm going to dink with real quick. Maybe get a hose clamp on this. Yeah. So a couple little things I had to deal with. One, trying to keep spark plug wires clean. I don't have the original retainers, so I think I did a pretty good job with just some generic ones you can get. Secondly, I needed to get a kit for these little guys, and that allowed me to, of course, hook up my throttle linkage, which appears to be working pretty dang good. Wired up the Mallory distributor. One of the things they found kind of odd is the fuel line for both float wells. If I tried putting it on this side, this linkage was in my way. I don't think I have to use this in any way, so I wonder if I could just like cut that off. But for now, I had to route it on this side, which is kind of annoying because of the location, but that's alright. Also wired in my electric choke, which is nice. I just got done like doing the PCV, valve, hose, that hose back there going to the air cleaner area, and the charcoal canister hose. So trying to just get all these pieces and everything going. Engine harnesses hooked up. You can see I've got a couple vacuum lines hooked up. One for the brake booster, one for my AC canister. I was gonna hook up my ram air, but someone must have, I don't know if they restored them or something, but if you look, that nipple should be on the other side. That nipple right here should be on this side right here, so it could go across, and it is not. So I'll leave them unhooked for now. That means they'll just be wide open all the time, full throttle. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and work on getting this fuel line hooked up right there. One thing that's cool, if you guys remember, I have that what was it, Bright Lime sports roof. And that thing has been really helpful as far as just like, I don't know, engine compartment wiring and things of that nature. That's been really good. So I'm just kind of holding this fuel hose and just finding where it likes to naturally rest for right now. I don't really like how it goes in front of the distributor, but I don't really have a way to go around. So I'm finding out pretty quickly there's a few things here that are going to be kind of a temporary, here we go, kind of temporary things. You know, this car was not complete when I got it. There was definitely not an engine in it. So as I'm getting this thing together, you know, I'm finding all of these things that either aren't correct or that I need. So for right now, I'm just trying to get it to where I can get it to run, maybe fix a couple little quirks along the way, and like many classic cars, there will just simply always be something to do. Looking at this thermostat housing, I think I'm gonna get another one that doesn't have the little vacuum thermal switch there for the vacuum lines. I'm not using them, and it's just kind of in the way. But now my fuel line is officially hooked up from the fuel pump. So engine's still on TDC. It is. I got the distributor set, checked my wiring numerous times. Hopefully it's still right. See what I can do about making this connection a little better. I don't know if I should route the spark plug wires underneath the fuel line there or not, but that should work for now. I wish it would stop blowing so I could put my coolant in. I know you can barely see, but I did just loosely get the H-pipe in. I did have one out of the 4 holes for the exhaust studs super galled up, but fortunately I was able to get my tap in there. I think it was 7/16 14, and get it going, and got the new gaskets, studs, and H-pipe just sitting there. But now with the engine in, I can't even crawl underneath this car very easily, so I'll probably get to the shop tomorrow and go ahead, get everything tightened up, put my exhaust system in.